Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you have been filled with a sumptuous lunch that we prepared this afternoon for you. My name is Ping Manongdo. I am the Country Director for the Philippines at Ecobusiness and Associate Partnerships Director, and I'm delighted to be your host this afternoon. We have been privileged to be delivering Unlocking Capital for Sustainability for its sixth year now. Without our strategic partner, the UNEP, this community and convening of high-level speakers, high-level finance experts would not have been possible. With that, and without further ado, I'd like to call your attention, please, to a live address to be delivered by Ms. Liesel Van Ast, the Deputy Head, UNEP.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me here today. I'm sorry that I can't be there in person. I'm deeply honored to be with you, virtually at least. We at UNEP are very excited with this partnership with Ecobusiness in this Unlocking Capital 2023 event towards strengthening sustainable finance in the Asia-Pacific region. This is because really at the UN, we are responding to the science, which shows that we are in a critical juncture to really ensure that the Earth remains habitable and can sustain society and the economies that serve us as it has over the past 1,000 years and more. Our current linear economic model is driving the destruction of nature and fueling climate change. So action to tackle the climate, nature, and pollution crisis is urgent. Initial findings towards the first global stocktake of progress under the Paris Agreement, which was just released this month, call for really a systemic approach to shift the financial flows to support effective climate action at the scale and speed that we need. These are tremendous opportunities to unlock trillions of dollars from financing innovation and low and zero greenhouse gas emissions activities and technologies in Asia and beyond to supporting the just and sustainable transition across sectors that's needed. Of course, Asia Pacific is at the forefront of economic growth and development, and with this comes a great responsibility to address climate change, biodiversity loss, and social inequality. We really can see this as a key moment of opportunity to shift our financial systems and the practices across markets to help sure that we maintain a thriving planet for future generations. The region's economic growth trajectory really positions it as a critical player in shaping the global economic impacts that we're seeing across nature and society and the global finance landscape. And it's really encouraging to see an increasing number of regulations in the Asia-Pacific region on sustainable finance, with around 20 regulators in Asia-Pacific joining the Network for Greening the Financial System, the Central Banks and Supervisors Network. And many countries across the region are increasingly making net zero commitments. Many Asian countries are among the leaders engaging on interoperable policy and regulatory frameworks, which, as you've heard some of this today, to enable financial institutions to integrate sustainability into financing. As you've heard, financial institutions are in a prime position to support clients and customers or portfolio companies in financing a credible transition planning in their businesses towards sustainable business models with positive social, economic, and environmental impacts. This is an enormous opportunity to align finance with sustainable, climate-resilient development pathways through responsible leadership, governance, and culture, through responsible client engagement and policy engagement. This will be critical to really accelerate the progress towards an equitable transition that we need to see. So to help financial institutions fulfill the pivotal role that you can play, we've established some of the most important sustainability frameworks for the finance industry, and we bring together the UN with the global network of banks, insurers, and investors to help shape sustainable finance agendas across regions. We incubated the Principles for Responsible Investment, which now accounts for over 80% of institutional capital globally, and now an independent entity supporting those institutional investors on their sustainability journeys. We've developed UNEP Principles for Responsible Banking, which has over 325 signatory banks, which represent over 50% of global banking assets. And we're seeing uptake all over the world of the principles, with the fastest growth in China. We're also supporting insurers on sustainability. So these frameworks are really frameworks that we're then supporting implementation of. It's really turning the frameworks into business practice through the operations of financial institutions, and on the insurance side, working with over 30% of global premium. And of course, we're supporting implementation of the UN-convened net zero alliances, including the Net Zero Banking Alliance, which has over 130 signatories representing around 40% of global banking assets. This is just really the beginning of the journey, and we're all working on global sustainability leadership, working with more than 500 financial institutions to help shape this journey. These financial institutions represent over 80 trillion globally, so this is really a potential turning point for the 80 trillion to align with the transformation needed for our society. Now, today, over 100 of those financial institutions are from the Asia-Pacific region, working with UNEP Finance Initiative, and this includes over 70% of the largest APAC banks. In Asia-Pacific, we're seeing many positive actions taken by financial institutions, integrating sustainability into their core sustainable finance market practice. To really keep track of this progress, signatories to the Principles for Responsible Banking are reporting on how they are integrating sustainability into their core business strategies while supporting clients on their transitions. And a whole community of finance professionals is working to develop the global knowledge on how they can align their portfolios with the Paris Agreement and the Global Biodiversity Framework. Nobody has all of the answers, but this is really a journey of learning by doing. The real question, of course, is what is actually changing from all of this, and whether financial institutions are moving in a direction that aligns their organizations and the economy with the transformations needed to enable catalytic change across our systems. And so to help keep track of what is actually changing, the Principles for Responsible Banking Biennial Progress Report was released in New York last week, and it does give us cause for hope. It shows that 97% of the Principles for Responsible Banking signatories have embedded the oversight of sustainability within their governance bodies, and over 90% of this responsibility sitting with the board or CEO level of the banks. This figure significantly outperforms the industry average of 22%, which is reported by the World Benchmarking Alliance in 2023 in their Governance and Climate Insights report. Now, almost 80%, 79% of PRB signatories have established systems to identify and monitor their most significant positive and negative impacts on society and the environment, so that they can understand where the change is most a priority and where they can have the biggest impact. For the bigger Principles for Responsible Banking signatories, with more than 100 billion in assets, 95% have climate targets in place. Many financial institutions are aligning their strategies with the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement through implementing the principles. And this really also means retooling to fulfill their roles in advising, in financing, and in underwriting companies on their transitions towards a sustainable and inclusive economy. And financial institutions with net zero commitments are starting to put in place the mechanisms to make financial flows consistent with the pathway towards low emissions and climate resilient development. During this transition, which is just getting started, it's critical, of course, to leave no one behind, a central promise of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And this means increasing access to financing across the population, eradicating poverty, discrimination, and exclusion, and reducing inequalities and vulnerabilities so that all people can fulfill their potential. Now, to help banks and insurers on their journeys in supporting this transition, we're developing common methodologies and guidance and tools, and providing capacity building and training for finance professionals to enhance their sustainability knowledge and skills. And as an example, one of the support we'll be providing is through guidance on a just transition, which we'll release at the COP28 in November. Now, the reason I cannot be there is because I'm in Edinburgh in Scotland with the Chartered Banker Institute and with GIZ to expand the Principles for Responsible Banking Academy, which already provides e-learning opportunities for executives and bankers working with clients and customers on sustainability transformation. This is just the start of deploying sustainability-driven capital in the region's markets. And I urge financial institutions and all of you here today to take action and report on progress to help the industry learn and improve. Although the data is not perfect, the methodologies are not perfect, it's through the strong frameworks and practice and innovation that will evolve. And And I ask that you and your colleagues and other stakeholders in the region really show the leadership to address the intersectional challenges of biodiversity loss, social inequality, and climate change. In closing, I really want to emphasize the importance of financing an equitable transition to sustainable, climate-resilient economy. Asia-Pacific is at the threshold of transformation, and together, governments and regulators and the private sector, of course, with the finance sector support, can be a proactive force in empowering business and people. It's through these dialogues such as today and the decisions and action that you will take afterwards that we can be sure that sustainable finance will develop in a credible way, that it can flourish and achieve the positive impacts that communities need. We at UNEP are here to provide the support to strengthen the sustainable finance momentum in the region. And once again, I want to thank you for being part of this dialogue, to Eco-Business for organizing this event. And I look forward to hearing of further progress in the region and beyond over the next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much once again, Ms. Liesel Van Ast, Deputy Head for UNEP Finance Initiative.